There is a specific kind of internal cold that takes hold the moment you realize you're completely on your own. You look around the room at your colleagues, your family, or your inner circle, and you feel the atmosphere shift. The smiles are performative. The room goes quiet when you enter. The social energy has curdled. You are no longer part of the tribe. You have become the target. Most people shatter in this moment. As human beings, we are biologically programmed for the pack. We crave consensus because, for thousands of years, isolation meant death. When the group turns on you, your primal instinct is to panic. You want to apologize, to explain yourself, to beg for a way back into the warmth of the collective. Do not do it. If you are feeling the weight of the world pressing against you right now, understand this: it is not a tragedy, it is a graduation. You have triggered the immune system of the mediocre. By becoming a threat, you have proven that you are finally doing something significant. Niccolò Machiavelli, the man who literally wrote the manual on power, didn't craft his masterpiece in a palace. He wrote it in the dirt. He was exiled, stripped of his honors, and thrown into a dungeon. He was tortured by the state, his body broken by the rope, his reputation dragged through the mud. The church, the government, and his former allies were all united against him. He didn't beg for mercy. He didn't issue a tearful apology. He went home, cleaned the blood off his face, put on his finest robes, and wrote, "The Prince." He transformed his isolation into a literary empire that has outlasted every man who tried to break him. You want to know how to win when the odds are stacked against you. You want to know how to reverse the momentum so their hatred becomes your fuel. I am going to show you how to use the weight of their opposition to build your throne. But first, you must drop the need to be liked. Power is not a popularity contest. It is a law of physics. The Mechanics of Betrayal. You aren't being attacked because you are weak. You are being targeted because you broke the unspoken contract of the group. Machiavelli noted that nothing is more dangerous than trying to introduce a new order of things. When you start to improve, when you fix your body, your finances, or your mindset, you become a mirror. Your growth highlights their stagnation. Your discipline exposes their laziness. They don't actually hate you. They hate the light you are shining on their own failures. This is the crab bucket effect. When one crab tries to climb out, the others don't cheer. They grab its legs and pull it back down. If it keeps climbing, they break its shell. The mistake you are making is trying to reason with the crabs. You think if you just explain your vision, they will understand. Stop. They understand perfectly. That is exactly why they are against you. To win, you must stop viewing their hostility as a problem and start viewing it as a coordinate. If you were headed in the wrong direction, they would be comfortable with you. Their agitation is your confirmation that you are on the path of the outlier. The strategy of the void. When the world turns on you, your instinct is to make noise. You want to defend your name. This is a trap. When you argue with a mob, you validate their power. You show them that their opinions can disturb your internal peace. You are bleeding energy into a black hole. Machiavelli used a different approach. He didn't scream at the gates of Florence. He vanished. He went silent. This is the strategy of the void. When everyone is against you, remove the target. Become a ghost. Withdraw your presence, your voice, and your attention. This achieves two critical things. First, it starves the fire. Hatred and gossip need fuel. They need your reaction and your drama. When you give them absolute silence, they have nothing to burn, and eventually, they turn on each other. Second, it creates a myth. While you are silent, you are not idle. You are building in the dark. Imagine the psychological pressure you put on an enemy who attacks you and receives nothing in return. No anger, no sadness, just absence. They start to wonder, what does he know that I don't? Why isn't he afraid? Paranoia shifts from you to them. The void is not empty space, it is a forge. When you are alone, you are forced to rely on your own spine. You learn to self-source your power, because there is no one left to give you a pat on the back. Look at the history of those who were canceled before the term existed. When 50 Cent was blacklisted by the music industry, he didn't complain to the press. He retreated to a basement. He built demand outside the industry that was better than what the labels were selling. By the time they realized he was a threat, he was already king. If they have exiled you, they have accidentally locked you in a room with your own potential. Do not come out until you are impossible to ignore. The mask of the fool. There will be times when you cannot disappear. You might be trapped in an office with people trying to sabotage you, or living in a house with a family that resents your ambition. In these close quarters, you must use the most dangerous lesson in the Machiavellian playbook: conceal your intentions. Machiavelli tells the story of Lucius Brutus. The king had murdered Brutus's family, and Brutus was next on the list. He had zero power. If he fought, he would die. If he ran, he would be hunted. So, Brutus played the fool. He pretended to be slow, submissive, and harmless. He let the court laugh at him. He lowered himself until he became invisible, no longer a threat, just a pet. But behind the mask, Brutus was a predator. He was memorizing the king's weaknesses and waiting for the exact moment of instability. When the timing was right, he dropped the act, drew his sword, and led the revolution that birthed the Roman Republic. He won because he was willing to look like a loser. This is what Robert Greene calls behaving like others while thinking as you choose. If your boss feels threatened by you, do not outshine them yet. Flatter them, agree with them. If your social circle mocks your goals, tell them, "You're right, it's just a hobby. I'm probably going to quit." Make them lower their guard. There is a profound arrogance in this. You are acting out a script for their benefit, and they are too blind to see it. This isn't cowardice, it's espionage. You are a spy behind enemy lines. Gather your resources and wait for the moment their back is turned. The arrow does not scream before it strikes. Neither should you. Becoming anti-fragile. The philosopher Nassim Taleb introduced the concept of anti-fragility. Some things are fragile and break under stress. Some are robust and stay the same. But the anti-fragile gets stronger under pressure. When everyone is against you, survival is not enough. You must become anti-fragile. How? You use their attacks as free consulting. Every time they criticize you, they are revealing a hole in your armor. If they call you arrogant, learn to mask your pride. If they say you don't know what you're doing, increase your competence in that specific area. Your enemies are your best auditors. Friends will lie to you to protect your feelings. Enemies will tell you the brutal truth because they want to hurt you. Take the hurt out of it and keep the data. Machiavelli wrote that a leader must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to scare away wolves. Your enemies are currently showing you exactly where the traps are located. The pressure of being surrounded forces you to evolve faster. If you were comfortable, you would be stagnant. The fact that they are hunting you means you have to be sharper and faster than them just to stay alive. They are literally forcing you to become elite. Thank them for it. Without the opposition, you would never have reached your full potential. The villain creates the hero. The resistance creates the power. The sovereign mindset. When the tribe rejects you, you realize a terrifying but liberating truth. No one is coming to save you. In fiction, the cavalry arrives at the last second. In reality, you are the cavalry. Machiavelli warns against relying on outside help or mercenaries. He says that if they lose, you are finished. And if they win, you are their prisoner. If you rely on someone else to rescue you from your enemies, you have simply traded one master for another. This period of isolation is your chance to achieve total autonomy. You need financial autonomy, a source of income that doesn't depend on a person who dislikes you. You need emotional autonomy, a sense of peace that doesn't require validation from people who don't understand you. And you need intellectual autonomy, your own ideas, not the recycled opinions of the group. This is the sovereign mindset. When you truly need nothing from them, their leverage evaporates. Ask yourself, why does it hurt that they are against me? It's because you still want something from them. Approval, money, or inclusion. Identify that need. Find a way to provide it for yourself, and you have won. You have cut the strings. A man who needs nothing is the most dangerous person in the room. Divide and conquer. You might see the people against you as a solid wall of opposition. This is an illusion. No group is truly united. They are held together by temporary interests and a common target. The moment you remove yourself as that target through silence, the glue begins to fail. Without you to hate, their internal friction will rise to the surface. Your job is not to move the wall, it's to find the loose brick. Machiavelli advises that a ruler must keep his enemies divided. Do not attack the group as a whole. Instead, isolate the weakest link. There is always someone in the mob who is only there because they are afraid of being targeted next. There is always someone secretly jealous of the mob leader. Find that person. Approach them privately. Feed their ego. Plant a seed of doubt. You don't even have to lie. Just highlight the cracks that already exist. When you turn one person, you break the consensus. Suddenly, the mob is no longer everyone. It's just a few people. That shift destroys their momentum. While they are busy suspecting each other of disloyalty, they stop watching you. The ultimate revenge. Retaliation is a primitive instinct. When someone strikes you, your biology screams for a counterattack. You want to expose them or yell at them. Suppress that urge. Direct attacks often backfire because they give your enemies a narrative to use against you. See, he's unstable. We were right to exclude him. The only revenge that works, the only one Machiavelli would respect, is total, undeniable victory. In military terms, this is called overmatch. It means building a life so vastly superior to theirs that their opinion of you becomes irrelevant. Does a lion care what a sheep thinks of his lifestyle? No. The power gap is too wide. Your goal is to widen that gap. While they are gossiping at the same bar they've been going to for 10 years, you are building your empire. While they are aging poorly and complaining about the system, you are mastering your craft. Think of the Count of Monte Cristo. He was betrayed and erased. He didn't scream for justice from his cell. He spent years educating himself and finding the resources to reinvent himself. When he returned, he didn't just beat his enemies, he owned them. He bought their debts and dismantled their lives with a polite smile. Let them have their petty office politics today. You are playing for the decade, not the day. 6 months of total focus can put you 5 years ahead of the average person. Imagine showing up a year from now with a new physique, a new mindset, and a new level of success, and treating your former enemies with absolute polite indifference. That is the ultimate power move. It proved their opposition didn't stop you. It didn't even slow you down. Conclusion. Love the resistance. Stop wishing for it to be easier. Stop wishing they were kinder. Learn to love the resistance. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. Not just accepting what happens, but embracing it as the raw material for your greatness. If everyone is against you, the universe is testing your resolve. It is a compliment. A pilot doesn't hate the wind that opposes the plane. He uses that resistance to generate lift. Without the headwind, the plane cannot fly. Your enemies are your wind. Every time they say you can't, they give you the fuel to prove them wrong. Every time they exclude you, they give you the solitude required for deep work. Machiavelli was stripped of his status. If he hadn't been, he would have died a forgotten bureaucrat. Because they destroyed his career, they forced him to become a philosopher whose ideas have shaped the world for 500 years. They created their own worst nightmare. When you see your enemies through this lens, you are no longer a victim. You are a predator. You look at them and think, "Thank you for making me so dangerous." When you can look at the person trying to destroy you and feel genuine gratitude for the lesson, you become untouchable. You are an alchemist. They throw lead, and you turn it into gold. Eventually, the tide will turn. When you survive the winter and build your fortress, the same people who were against you will try to drift back. They will say, "I always knew you'd make it," or "I was just pushing you to be better." This is the final test. Do not be deceived. Machiavelli warns that people are quick to follow whoever is winning. You can forgive them to keep your own heart clean, but never forget who held the shovel when they were trying to bury you. You have established a new standard. Those who stayed loyal when you were down get a seat at the table. The rest can stay outside. Winning when everyone is against you is not a tragedy. It is an initiation. Life is asking you, do you believe in yourself enough to stand alone? Most people say no. They fold, they apologize, and they rejoin the herd to die as copies. But you are going to say yes. You will use the silence. You will use the darkness. You will build a fortress so high that their arrows cannot reach the top. And one day, you will look down and see that the people who tried to break you look very, very small. You won't feel anger. You will just feel distinct. You are the outlier. They are the crowd. And that is the only victory that matters. If this resonated with you, it's because you aren't like the rest of the herd. Subscribe to join the circle. If you want access to the lessons they don't allow on the main feed, click the Join button to enter the architect level. Step into the deep end of the human psyche. Most won't. That's exactly why you should.